is 4:30 a.m. Your hands are cracked and bleeding. Before the house even wakes, you'll scrub, polish, and disappear into the wall, one of a million invisible servants keeping Victorian Britain running. Tonight, walk with me through a day you wouldn't survive, where tea leaves bind the dust and labor must never show. Let the candlelight steady your thoughts as we descend below the stair. Welcome to Peace of the Past, where history is not loud. It is a whisper, a candle's glow, a parchment's crinkle, a tale of the past whispered softly to you. Here we wander the quiet corridors of forgotten places, breathe in the stillness of the centuries, and find calm in the echoes of the past. So get cozy, come closer, and let the past whisper to you. Welcome, dear listener. Tonight, we descend the narrow servant stairs, where footsteps are soft and the work is endless, but the world above remains unaware. Breathe in the quiet. Let the candlelight steady your thoughts. We'll walk together, unseen, in the hush below stairs. You rise before the house, before the city stirs, before the daylight pries open the edges of the curtains upstairs. Down here it is night's last hour, cold and damp with stone. Your breath ghosts in the air as you pull on your apron, fingers still clumsy with sleep. Somewhere far above, a clock counts quietly toward 5. They call you to the day with routine instead of names. You know where to go, what to touch, what to leave, how to vanish when you are most needed. There are a million steps to be done before anyone knows you are here. Mrs. Beaton once advised the mistress to keep a household orderly as a well-governed state. What she did not write, at least not in the way you feel it, is that the state is held together by your hands. You lift the first coal bucket, the iron grip numbing your fingers. The house is black and still. You move through its belly into rooms that sleep like beasts, laying kindling, coaxing sparks. One hearth, then 2. The drawing room must be warm by 6. The morning room by past. The nursery fire should never be allowed to die, so says the housekeeper, her keys chiming like a stern little bell. You kneel at the grate, black leading the iron, so it shines like night water. Soot powders your cuffs, grits beneath your nails, settles inside your throat. You swallow and taste yesterday's coal. A small tinder flame flutters to life, and suddenly the whole room sighs in relief. Water slushes in the scullery sink, cold as a winter mouth. You fill the jug, the weight biting your wrist as you carry it up the narrow stair. Careful not to spill. Careful not to wake the house with clumsy feet. It is a dance of silence, learned by repetition, refined by scolding, and punished by the bell. They say there were more than 1 million domestic servants in Britain by the 1890s, young women mostly, and boys in livery, invisible as smoke. Here you are one voice among many hands. By then, one household in every 3 employed at least one servant. Most began in their early teens, some as young as 12, leaving villages for the promise of steady food and a roof. Wages were meager. A scullery maid might earn £10 a year, a housemaid 16, a lady's maid perhaps 40. Room and board were included, yet uniforms and even soap could be deducted from pay. Many stayed with one family for years, sometimes for life, Others moved often, chasing a kinder post or a few shillings more. By 5:30, the kitchen range is awake, iron ribs humming with new heat. You feed it with coal and patience. The cook arrives, apron tied like a banner of authority, and the room adjusts to her presence the way a ship yields to the wind. She has the morning's plan tucked into her head. Porridge thick and steady, eggs soft, bacon hissing, bread proofs to judge by fingertip and instinct. You knead dough, palms pressing the day into readiness. The board is floured like frost. The yeast breathes quietly, a living thing in the hush. The cook doesn't look up, but you feel when you've done well. She doesn't need to check your work twice. The kitchen maid chops carrots by the glow of the range. The knife rhythm steady as a heartbeat. Pots murmur. A kettle collects its courage. You move between heat and water and flour, air sweetening with steam. It is still dark in the world above. By 6, the house is turning in its sleep. The lady's maid warms curling tongues by the small bedroom fire. Her fingers skilled, her presence nearly myth. She moves like a shadow that knows every seam in the curtains. The master's valet polishes boots until the leather remembers the color of raven's wings and lays out a collar stiff enough to carry a day. You are part of this choreography. A corridor here, a tray there, the soft sound of water poured into a porcelain basin. No door creaks, no foot falters. You practice the art of vanishing at the threshold. Eyes lowered, voice saved for when it is asked for. A servant's memoir once said that in winter water froze in the washing jugs before dawn. Still, the morning must proceed as if summer had never left. You learn to warm your hands over the smallest flame and carry the warmth like a secret through the corridor. By 6:30, the housemaids begin their battle. Coal fires crown the rooms, us upstairs with comfort, but their soot settles on everything without mercy. You scatter damp tea leaves on the carpet, the old trick to bind the dust before the broom whispers it away. The brush glides, the dustpan nods in rhythm. Your back learns the shape of the floor. Brass brightens beneath your cloth. Ornaments forget their shadows. Rugs are carried out, beaten until the ghosts of yesterday's ash cough themselves free into the cold yard air. You return them carefully, fibers aligned, edges squared, so the room looks as if it woke perfectly composed. Upstairs, the family will come down to a world that seems to maintain itself. That is the quiet magic of below stairs. Nothing is allowed to show the labor that made it. In the hall, the butler moves with the finality of a clock striking the hour. His silver key to the cellar swings like a verdict. He oversees the polish on the decanters. The linens fold, the exact way the candlesticks catch the first light. There is a special paste for the silver, recipes guarded more jealously than some family secrets. He requires that it sing, not simply shine. His voice is low, but it carries the weight of the household ledger. He is master of ceremony and silence both. Even the footmen, tall, well chosen, uniforms immaculate, take their cues from him, learning when to be still enough to blend into paneling, when to move fast enough to be seen only as a whisper of livery. Some days are for laundry, and then the entire house becomes a river of cloth. Great coppers boil water in the scullery, steam blossoming on the ceiling like pale flowers. Shirts are scrubbed on ribs of wood until the knuckles protest. Soap bites at small cuts you didn't know you had. The mangle creaks like an old tree, its rollers, tasting every drop of water squeezed from the day. You carry baskets so high you must peer over them like a cautious bird. Lines are strung wherever there is space. Ironing begins only when the cloth is compliant. The heavy flat irons, heated on the stove and tested with a flick of damp, hiss, nod, and the slow slide of heat pressing a day into order. A housekeeper once advised that the best ironer had a calm wrist and unruffled mind. You practice both, stroke after stroke, until the garment lies quiet as a pond at dusk. By late morning, service prepares itself as if by nature, though you know it is craft. Trays are laid with quiet geometry, spoons aligned, napkins folded into pale lilies, plates warming discreetly by the range. When the bell calls, one tone for dining room, another for breakfast room. Short, urgent strokes for the mistress, everything moves. You carry soup that must not tremble, fish that must not cool, and you step lightly, so neither steam nor scent escapes too soon. Footmen stand poised like portraits. No ankle turns, no tray rattles. The silence is as carefully prepared as the sauce. Etiquette demands a vanishing act. Never speak unless spoken to. Never catch the eye unless invited to. You become the crisp fold in the linen, the whisper of the door, the measured distance between course and course. In books of the time, entire pages are given to the order of plates, the choreography by which a table is served, as if time itself were being plated. You keep that music without notes. She arrives, not loudly, but with presence. The housekeeper, whose keys hang at her waist the way a mayor wears a chain. She knows the stockroom by heart. Who owes what? Which supplier will overcharge if you let him? She keeps lists that could outlast the house. When she speaks, even the butler listens sometimes. She balances account, settles disputes with the same hand that smooths linen, and reminds you gently that the mistress will notice the slightest shift in the parlor's perfume if the roses are too bold. She has an eye like a lighthouse. In some households, the housekeeper was called Mrs., whether married or not, a mark of respect hard-earned by competence. You watch the way the staff measure themselves against her calm. At last, a narrow wedge of time is yours. The servants' hall hums with low voices, the clink of cutlery, the small relief of tea cupped in both hands. You sit according to the order, even here. But you sit. It matters. Someone tells a half-funny story in a whisper, because laughter feels almost dangerous, this close to duty. Someone else teases a new maid about her first misread bell. The cook pretends not to notice when a second slice finds its way to a plate that needs it. The butler does notice, but he looks away, which is its own kind of permission. There are rules here too. Who may speak first? Who rises when the bell sounds again? But in the space between, you remember you have a laugh, a favorite way to sit, a way of touching your cup that belongs to no one else. A footnote in an old manual remarks that good temper oils the wheels of service. You think tea does it better. The plates are cleared, the chairs tucked in with quiet finality, and the afternoon reasserts itself like a tide. You check the fires, skim ash with a practiced hand, and carry up fresh water that slaps gently against the jug's lip with every careful step. Rooms demand their daily attentions. Curtains coaxed into fall just so. Table surfaces freed from fingerprints that arrive like fog. Books aligned until their spines resemble a disciplined row of soldiers. You learn not simply to clean, but to restore the illusion that nothing human touches these things. In the nursery, a rocking horse has drifted forward an inch. You nudge it back with a smile that no one sees. In the mistress's writing room, the blotting paper is trimmed new. The scent of ink sleeps beneath the blotter, polite and shy. The bellboard in the hall is the house's heartbeat. Tink, tink, tink. Each needle flick a summons, each chime a direction. You come to understand its grammar, the way a sailor reads wind. By mid-afternoon, your shoulders remember the morning. Your hands speak a language of small aches. Still, your movements keep the upstairs world effortless. The family will remark upon the pleasant coolness of the hall, the brightness of the brass, the crisp linen that seems to renew itself like spring. They may even praise the cook. They will not mention you, which is the measure of a job well done. A modern historian might say, this is the invisibility of service. You know it as a kind of artistry, the ability to be present without taking space, to leave a room better than you found it, without leaving any trace of yourself behind. The kitchen breathes in and out, steadying itself for the hours to come. Pans dry upside down like small silver roofs. The scullery sink sighs as its last swirl of suds collapses into a shine. Somewhere, the cook is counting courses under her breath, planning timing as precisely as a watchmaker. The footmen check gloves, brush their livery until the cloth hum. You allow yourself one slow sip of water in the cool passage by the back door. Evening will require your best steps, your calmest wrists, your quietest breath. For now, you listen to the house at rest, the distant tick of the long case clock, the faintest hush of a draft moving beneath the door, the low purr of the range like a satisfied animal. Once someone wrote that a great house is a machine made of time and polish. You would say, and of people whose name's history does not always keep. Rest here a moment in the gentle hum of the afternoon. The evening will soon call for grace and quiet speed. When you're ready, we'll step into the silvered hours together. Here at Piece of the Past. If you enjoyed your stay in the candlelight, please subscribe so the next story finds you. Until then, may your nights be calm and your dreams timeless.